Honorable Aka Hervé, Honorable Akwashiki Godia, Honorable Alimikena Francis Asekame, Honorable Alipui Senanou Koku, Honorable Ameya Chereme Kwasi, Honorable Asineme, Honorable Aoyo Ibrahim Usman, Honorable Ayamba Ladi Ayi, Honorable Ayariga Mahama, Honorable Bako Nasiru Arifari, Honorable Larabe Abdoulaye Salame, Honorable Balogun Adebayo, Honorable Bangura Mohamed, Honorable Baro Keba K, Honorable Bezra Emmanuel Kwasi, Honorable Boluvi Patrick Ojovi Senam, Honorable Borofis Robert Ajayi, Honorable Buka Lamine Fugu, Honorable Boacha Emmanuel, Honorable Khalifa Seyidi, Honorable Chuba Ikwe Zulinda, Honorable Kulibali Traore Ajaratu, Honorable Dabo Alaji S, Honorable Daoudou Bashir, Honorable Diaz Armando Correa, Honorable Jibo Ali Amadou, Honorable Ego Emmanuel Ogene, Honorable Ezenwa Francis Onyinwochi, Honorable Fanny Musokura Chantal, Honorable Fernandez Gabriela Alfredo, Honorable Gabasawa Nasiru Abdua, Honorable Bocho Marcel Moni, Honorable Gobi Ibrahim, Honorable Azume Hippolyte, Honorable Idiango Usman, Honorable Isa Murtala, Honorable Isa Salifu, Honorable Isa Mayaki Ramnato, Honorable Diallo Samba, Honorable Kaipe Jonathan, Honorable Kamba Abdullahi Umar, Honorable Kolawole Taibo Misebo, Honorable Kone Nyanga Jomo, Honorable Kumwe Kona Rene, Honorable Lamina Sa Emerson, Honorable Lopez Manuela Nascimento, Honorable Masakwa Clarence Kotu Momolu, Honorable Medigan Faglas Damiro Marik, Honorable Michelia Haruna, Honorable Mustafa Olaleka Ramoni, Honorable Ndoye Suleiman, Honorable Ndume Mohamed Ali, Honorable Ndiaye Fatoumata, Honorable Odebi Tolulope Akinremi, Honorable Ogba Joseph Obina, Honorable Okejev Emmanuel Yiza, Honorable Olujimi Biodun Christine, Honorable Honor Sandy, Honorable Pereira Diaz Orlando, Honorable Rocha Rosa Lopez, Honorable Rosario de Brito Nelson, Honorable Sahabi Alaji Yao, Honorable Saidu Alkali, Honorable Sako Mamadou, Honorable Salam Bamindele, Honorable Saleh Gabriel Zok, Honorable Sal Ibrahima Baba, Honorable Saman Shaka Musa, Honorable Sankara Abdullahi Danladi, Honorable Santos Tavares Carlos Alberto Dos, Honorable Sar Wurai, Honorable Sise Veronica Kadi, Honorable Sayo Aja Fata, Honorable Snow Jr. Edwin Melvin, Honorable Suarez da Costa Isa Filomena Pereira, Honorable Soklingbe Senu, Honorable Sila Adama, Honorable Taiwo Oluyemi Adewale, Honorable Tunkara Bileji, Honorable Umeuji Michael, Honorable Vilan Abdullahi, Honorable Yusufu Abdurrahmani Didanum, Honorable Zargo Stephen G.H. Mr. Speaker, the list is exhausted. Thank you.
Thank you very much, SG. Honorable members, pursuant to Article 71, Paragraph 2 of our Rules of Procedure, Parliament always has the requisite number to deliberate and settle its agenda. The agenda for the plenary sitting of today, Monday, December 11, 2023, is devoted to the following items. 1. Consideration and adoption of draft reports of the Standing Joint and Ad hoc Committee on draft reports of the fact-finding and Parliamentary Oversight missions. 2. presentation of personal statement of member of ad hoc committee on recruitment and on funds for the sensitization campaign. Consideration and adoption of draft reports of the Standing Joint and Ad hoc Committee and draft report of fact-finding and parliamentary oversight missions. We will start with the consideration and adoption of the draft report of the delocalized meeting of the Joint Committee on Political Affairs, Peace, Security, and Committee on Legal Affairs and Human Rights, Committee on Social Affairs, Gender, and Women Empowerment. Honorable colleagues, as a reminder, as part of the implementation of his programs of activities for the 2023 Parliament organized from July 25th, 29th, 2023 in Monrovia, Liberia, a localized meeting, localized meeting of his Joint Committee on Political Affairs, Peace, Security, Committee on Legal Affairs and Human Rights, Committee on Social Affairs, Gender and Women Empowerment, on the theme strengthening political inclusiveness in the participatory governance process and a mechanism for promoting peace and security. I now give the floor to chair and rapporteurs of the joint committees to present to the plenary the summary of the report of the meeting. Our rapporteurs, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you just enunciated the agenda for the day, and amongst that, you mentioned, amongst others, the presentation of the minority report. I would not want us to initiate debate right now on the issue of the minority report, but I want for that to be entirely struck off the agenda so that the report is not presented at all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I believe that the last time when this issue was broached, we made the mistake of amending, of looking at our rules of procedure, which is the legal document that governs all our actions here. If you look at Article 39, paragraph 5, from point 4, as from the rules of procedure says, the decisions of the committees are taken based on the majority votes. I believe that with the foregoing, there is no discussion whatsoever about minority report. The text is clear that there is only one report which was presented, and I'd like to remind this Honorable Assembly that the Parliament has always operated on the basis of the rules of procedure that govern the activities of the Parliament. And I have never seen in this Parliament that a standing committee, an ad hoc committee or a special committee deliberated and came here to present two reports. I have never seen that. Myself, during our deliberations, I expressed opinions which were not captured in the report. So that made me a minority, but that does not mean that I should come and present a minority report in plenary because I was in the minority. So I would call on the plenary to strike off this point from our agenda and let us respect our rules of proceedings and moving forward, because we shouldn't open this Pandora's box for the devil. Thank you.
Respected colleagues, I want you to be a little bit patient. First, yes, maybe it's contained in the text, but in a democratic dispensation, to listen to the voice of the minority is part of democracy. And I want to believe that there's nothing bad for him to air or to give us his own opinion. Let us not stall the process. Let's have whatever he is going to be laid before us. I don't know your report. I have not seen it. I don't know what he has there. But as a presiding officer, I would beg that it's normal. Yes, we may not have had that kind of situation in the past. But if circumstances and situation warrants us to tolerate such, we should tolerate. We are Democrats, for God's sake. I want to beg my brother and other colleagues who have a very variant and different opinion on this matter to be a little bit patient. Allow him lay the report. Then we'll move. Otherwise, we will be stalling by causing confusion where we are not supposed to have. Thank you very much. That's my plea. Yes, sir.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if I understand your position and your explanations,
Another article, which is Rule 67. A representative who requests to make a personal statement shall be heard at the end of the discussion of the item of the agenda being dealt with, or when the minutes of the meeting to which the request for leave to speak are considered for approval. So we have the space for it. I don't know. Yes, sir.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais...
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to take you up on what you just said. We did say that it is at the end of that item, meaning that this item cannot be on the agenda, and that it is afterwards. Madam, if you could allow me, let me speak to what has just been said. Please, with your permission, could you read again what you just read, Mr. Speaker?
To read that particular item. No, wait.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I just want to clear what they are trying to drag into this thing. On Saturday, we unanimously included that thing in today's agenda. Therefore, it has passed what they are raising. Yes, we included it in the agenda for today. Therefore, I don't know why we are just wasting time. Let's continue. When he gets there, let him present something. And the majority of the committee will have their way. Thank you. Have their way. May have their way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think the danger in this suggestion that we should have a minority report, the implication is that it has to be unanimous, meaning that even on this floor, if an item comes, it has to be unanimous before it passes the day. I mean, in democracy, majority carries the day, okay? It carries the day, doesn't mean minority. Otherwise, even on the floor here, this report has to be taken unanimously, otherwise it doesn't say. That's my position.
Speaker, Mr. Speaker.
Well, let's be organized. Can we have a register of those who want to contribute? Then we make a yes.
Wait.
Colleagues, the list is quite very large, so I will give 1 minute for each person that want to contribute. Honorable Linda, starting with you. 1 minute, and I mean 1 minute. 11:16, 11:17, I will stop you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this is pretty straightforward. The main report has to be laid first. That's the report of the majority. But the voice of the minority must also be heard. And going by the rules you read out, at the end of it, when he gets up to make his own submission, it's at that time that if he wants to do a written submission or oral submission, he can so do. But the report of the majority must be laid first.
Which has been...
It must be discussed first.
No, it has been laid. So we are past that one too. Thank you. Honorable Icon. Connie, okay. Except if we want to take much time. Allow this procedure to go the way we have done. We have laid the report. When it comes to discussion, he now can lay his own minority, and we listen to it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Settle. Colleagues, our reporters now have the floor. They now have the floor to present their reports. Again?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Speaker, just a minute, please. I understand your position. So that means that that item is no longer on the agenda. It means it will come afterwards. I would want for us to say that, make that clear enough. So it is optional for him to intervene, but it is not on the agenda, right?
It's on the agenda because we have earlier on settled on that by the resolution of the House. But then we are Democrats who are supposed to be obeying our rules. If the rule says he will come after during the discussion, we shall follow that. But for now, let's make progress. Let's listen to this. When we come to that agenda, we can talk about it. Please, colleagues, can we have the presenters on the fact finding of our, on our oversight?
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Before I proceed, I'd like to say this, make this point, which is very important in my opinion. In the Article 64 or 65, which you read, has nothing to do with this debates in committees. It is in plenary. I'd like to draw our attention to this point. It is for debates in plenary, and that has absolutely nothing to do with committee sittings.
I will beg of you. You are one of those who are resource persons to this. Let's not tear this house on a matter that is very minor. Please. Please. Please.
Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I believe that you are setting a dangerous precedence for our proceedings in the future, and these settings will paralyze our proceedings in the future. I would want for you, Mr. Speaker, to state clearly that the report will be read on an optional basis. In other words, this item is not in our order paper, and so this minority report is not on our agenda, because in reality, Mr. Speaker, if it is not today, never in the drafting of reports, whether academic report or any report, I have never heard a majority report, a minority report. In any case, Mr. Speaker, a report is always the object of contradictions by all and sundry. And when you are not capable of imposing yourself intellectually in the committee, you cannot come to plenary and mention a minority report which has nothing to do with anything. And so, Mr. Speaker,
you cannot say that. That is very wrong. You cannot say that. It's an elected member like you.
C'est dans le rapport, c'est dans la...
It is at the committee that intervened. Mr. Speaker, we had a committee that was set up here in plenary, and he is a member of the committee representing the country, and he took part in all the sittings of the committee. And so he cannot come here today and present a report that contradicts the report of the committee. That is what that is the problem, Mr. Speaker.
Monsieur le Président, et d'ailleurs,
Mr. Speaker, besides, if we continue this way, then there's going to be as many reports as we have the members of the committee of that report and members of that committee, and that will be a dangerous precedence.
Well, my respected colleagues, I want to beg for your understanding. First, to look at us as serving the community. And if we are serving the community, our personal interests should be away from the majority of what we are supposed to do in terms of our activities. I want to beg for that understanding. I want to beg. Colleagues, this is not an issue that will tear us. I will not be a person that will set a dangerous or bad precedent for the parliament to follow. I want to make history. I want to be part of good history. But I also want us to be Democrats. If the rule says he's going to make a statement, he will make the statement. And let's allow that. When we get to the river, we'll cross the bridge first. But for now, where we are, can we, and I'm appealing to members to come down. But I think the line at which we want to tear ourselves is not good for the region. The discussion I'm seeing, the conversation I'm seeing going on is not good for our sub-region. And I want to beg of us to step down whatever we have in our minds and face the reality of what is on ground. Thank you very much.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, excuse me, Mr. Speaker, I would like to make a statement as the chairperson of the committee.
And you are recognized so that we get organized. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, my colleagues. Mine, Honorable Speaker, may I have the attention?
Well, may I call again? They are calling on me. The secretariat. It says a representative who requests to make a personal statement shall be heard at the end of the discussion of the item of the agenda being dealt with, or when the minutes of the sitting to which the request for leave to speak are considered for approval. So it's a very clear statement. Please, it's in our rules. Allow us to get to that point, and then we'll do.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, please, as you have given me the floor.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity.
No, I was given floor, please.
Oh, no.
I was given floor.
Point of order. Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, thank you so much.
Honorable Senator Suno, are you telling me that if we take a decision and the decision is wrong based on our rules, we cannot obey our rules, or we should not obey our rules?
No, presiding. The position I'm making, what the Secretary General and the Director of Parliamentary Affairs, the information they are providing now, they should have provided it on Friday, so we don't have to waste our time to come to this point.
There are human beings. Mistake will come. And it's only women
they should be friendly with the documents, even though they are human beings. They should be friendly with their documents.
Honorable Speaker,
please.
No, you have given me floor.
Point of order.
Point of order.
That's
Mr. Speaker,
on their
Mr.
side.
Speaker, thank you.
Mistake. That's negligence.
Mr. Speaker,
I said there is a point of order.
I'm going to stand up and make this my point very clear. Mr. Speaker, I think our sitting is not in order. No. It is unparliamentary for a member of parliament to just put on your mic and start speaking without catching the eye of the speaker. Please, let there be order. We are members of parliament from various countries, and the procedure must be followed, and there must be order in the house. Mr. Speaker, if any member is not able to catch your eye and the person starts speaking, please cut the person off so that there can be order in this house. Thank you so much.
Point of order sustained.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my colleagues. Honorable Speaker, I want to draw our attention and to what some previous speakers have said. This is a procedure, a legislative procedure in the chamber, and you have been a presiding officer for long, and some of us also are presiding officers. This issue and any issue come up, all of us may have their own opinion that may differ to his colleagues. As a result of that, the House, almost when there is issue, we will make a decision of appointing a committee. This committee will go and serve on behalf of all of us. When the committee did its works, they may agree and they may not agree. But we have one committee, and one committee will work and bring its report. Not necessarily all members of the committee should agree with the report. But what will happen? The report should be submitted, presented to the House, and that report will be deliberated, discussed by honorable members. Anybody has different opinion, being member of that committee or any other member that was not included in that committee, should reserve his opinion. When we come to discussing, you can go against or for the report. But there have never been, I have been a speaker, and you have been a presiding officer, and you are still a presiding officer in this house. There have never been two different reports of one committee. So one committee was appointed. They have done their job. They have presented it. So not even member, even other members that are not members of that committee, if they have different opinion, the only opportunity for them is when the report was presented during the discussion. You can go against or you can go for. Then at the end of the day, who the majority should be considered. So now he has rejected or he has refused to sign that report. So he is no more member of that committee as far as he decided on his own decision. Now the only opportunity he has is that when we come for the discussion, okay, he can kick against each and every recommendation there. If he was able to convince the members, we supported him and do away with those recommendations. If not, we go by the majority. So please, let us go ahead and thank you very much.
I don't know. Please, colleagues, can we, for God's sake, make progress? We have taken, first we came in late. We are now taking time to discuss what is not even before us. Let's allow the moment that the matter is before us and discuss it. I think it's much better.
No,
it's no.
Merci beaucoup, President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The argument from the last speaker and the information provided makes sense. But let's take the composition of this committee. It is not an ordinary committee. It is country-sensitive committee. So the gentleman in question who has a minority opinion is not representing his interests alone on that. He's representing the interest of his country. So because it's country-sensitive, the country must have the right, if they have a dissenting view, to express their view. That's my position on this matter, Mr. Presiding.
Well, Honorable OKJ.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this parliament is representing is represented by all the countries in the sub-region. So you don't have to belong to a particular committee before you can, participate in the discussion when it comes to the floor. So I don't think country sensitive should be an issue here, because every one of us here is going to participate in the discussion when the report comes to the floor of the in plenary here as we discuss. I think that is very important to know.
Brother from Quebec.
Monsieur le Président.
Honorable Speaker, the most democratic way of resolving a matter of this nature is to submit it to the vote by plenary. Submit the matter to a vote by plenary. Those who are in favor of this should vote, and those who are against should also express their view, will vote, and that will be submitting the matter to plenary and putting it to a vote. Thank you.
I think we do not need to go that route, except because mine is cohesion, and I'm beginning to have cohesion. Yes,
Président, s'il vous plaît. Merci, Président. Monsieur le Président.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. Honorable Speaker, I think that we have gone around the matter. If I may, I suggest that the rapporteur of the ad hoc committee comes to the podium to submit his report, and after the presentation, a debate will open. We need to gain time. Time is of the essence. We are wasting time, and I think that you should now give the floor to the rapporteur, please. Thank you.
The rapporteur has the floor. Thank you. No, we are dealing with the issue of reports. Yes, delocalized meetings of the joint committees, political affairs, peace, security, and judicial.
No, President.
Please.
Honorable Speaker.
So, Colombe, you have the floor.
Président, s'il vous plaît, j'ai un préalable.
Honorable Speaker, please, I beg, please, Speaker, I beg.
On simple procedure, and the procedure is quite very, as far as I'm concerned, the first item on the agenda is presentation of the out-delocalized meetings. This is what we're supposed to do. When we get to the second agenda, if you want to have a rejection, you can have a rejection. Then we treat the matter at that point. Please. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, sir, Mr. Speaker, I think you are over-democratizing. There is something like that. You have made the point. I see clarity in what you're saying. Please take a decision and let's move on.
Well, I thought I've taken the decision, and the decision will move on. Thank you. Who is supposed to present the report is a Colombe. So come ahead and present your report.
Réunion de la commission.
Meeting of the delocalized meeting of the ad hoc committee on political affairs, peace, security, legal affairs and human rights, social affairs, gender and women empowerment, Monrovia, 25th to 29 July 2023. On the theme, strengthening political inclusiveness in participatory governance process, a mechanism for the promotion of peace and security. Introduction. Within the framework of implementing the annual activities of the ECOWAS Parliament, the Joint Committee on Political Affairs, Peace, Security, and APRM, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, Social Affairs, Gender and Women Empowerment met from 25th to 29 July 2023 in Monrovia, Liberia, to discuss the theme strengthening political inclusiveness in participatory governance process, a mechanism for the promotion of peace and security. The general objective of this meeting was to consider the best mechanisms for ensuring greater political inclusion in governance in member states, as well as participation of all segments and entities of the society in order to prevent and/or resolve the multifaceted crisis faced by the member states. Participating in the deliberations of the meeting were members of the Joint Committee, Liberian members of ECOWAS Parliament, staff of the administration of the Parliament, resource persons from ECOWAS institutions and specialized agencies, as well as invited experts. The meeting was co-chaired by Honorable Edwin Melvin Snow, Jr., Honorable Sedami Fagla Medegan, and Hervé Aka, Chair of the Committee on Community Affairs, Peace, Security, and APRM, Chair of the Committee on Social Affairs, Gender and Women Empowerment, and Vice Chair of the Committee on Legal Affairs and Human Rights, respectively. The present report summarizes the deliberations of the meeting and captures the salient details and highlights the recommendations ensuing from the discussions. Honorable Speaker, I urge that we move directly to the conclusions and recommendations on page 12 of the report. Recommendations, 11 in the English. At the end of the meeting, the Joint Committee made the following recommendations. To the ECOWAS member states, the Joint Committee calls on the member states to adopt concrete mechanisms to encourage the participation of all citizens in important decision-making processes, including vulnerable groups such as ethnic or religious minorities, women and youth, people with disabilities, and the elderly. Calls on the member states to implement an effective diversity management policy by prioritizing the involvement of young people, women, and vulnerable groups in the drawing up of development programs and plans. Urges the member states to adopt and ensure effective implementation of laws and policies on quotas and/or gender balance by providing for alternating male and female electoral lists and appointments to governance bodies. Calls on member states to ensure strict respect for democratic principles and decentralization of powers at all levels of governance, notably through the implementation of the ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance and other regional mechanisms for conflict prevention and management. Urges the member states to guarantee effectively the independence and impartiality of the judicial and electoral management institutions and to equally work to strengthen confidence in these public institutions through measures to ensure their transparency, professionalism, and effectiveness. Calls on member states to establish an independent quasi-judicial administrative body to investigate electoral disputes involving the conduct of the Independent Electoral Commission during the electoral process. Urges member states to centralize military command to avoid formation of elite military units or parallel military forces whose command and control is outside a unified command structure. To the ECOWAS Commission. The Joint Committee calls on the ECOWAS Commission to strengthen engagement and partnerships with civil society organizations and work towards the establishment of a strong and involved civil society at all levels in the democratic governance process and in conflict prevention. Urges the ECOWAS Commission to take necessary measures to ensure that it puts in place an independent mechanism for appointing the judicial bodies and electoral administration with a view to making this control body truly autonomous and totally independent. Appeals to the ECOWAS Commission to promote awareness among the military on the ECOWAS Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance included the imperative need for the armed forces to be apolitical to protect the state and democratic processes. Ask the ECOWAS Commission to contribute to the capacity building of national institutions or agencies responsible for the promotion of democracy and good governance, including through allocation of grants and adoption of legal acts guaranteeing the effective independence of these institutions or agencies and the integrity of the agents. Encourages the ECOWAS Commission to continue to intensify dialogue with the transitional authorities in Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso in order to ensure the follow-up and implementation of the transition timetables with a view to accelerating the return to constitutional order in these states. Urges the ECOWAS Commission to continue consultations and to engage in any necessary advocacy action with a view to achieving a consensual revision of the Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. Appeals to the ECOWAS Commission to work harder to strengthen collective regional security cooperation by collaborating with the African Union and key partners. To the ECOWAS Parliament, the Joint Committee calls on the ECOWAS Parliament to carry on with the advocacy on election of ECOWAS members by direct universal suffrage in order to strengthen representative democracy and at the same time to guarantee the effective implementation of the quota of at least 30% women representation in the community parliament. Urges the ECOWAS Parliament to develop mechanisms to enable it to be proactive and operational in conflict prevention and management. Done at Monrovia, 28 July 2023. I do thank you.
Thank you, our rapporteur. Thank you very much, the chairman of the Joint Committee. Now the general debate is open. Members who wish to intervene in the debate are requested to register on the intervention list. Observation on this report?
Yeah, why not you allow the report to be laid, then from there we have a general discussion over them. Just like how we do the country.
So is that all?
No, I understand. I'm saying you have other report to be presented today. So why not you,
The remaining is ad hoc committee, the remaining is on the oversight function. These
yes,
are the
oversight function, yes. You have other oversight function as well.
Is this not an oversight report function? Thank you. If there's no further no intervention, I believe that the House have adopted the report. You want to intervene? Okay. Yes, you have the floor. Fatima.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this Parliament needs to look at the work of this committee, especially looking at the theme of the meeting, strengthening political inclusiveness in participatory governance and processes. Mr. Speaker, whilst we were in the middle of this meeting, Niger had a coup d'etat, and I think we have a lot to learn from what has happened. And then we've seen an attempted coup in Guinea-Bissau and also in Sierra Leone. I think this topic should not only be lip service, we should truly look into the matters that brings about these coup d'etats or attempted coup d'etats and try to resolve them. Mr. Speaker, we can see as far back as 1999, Nigeria totally condemned coup d'etats in the Obasanjo administration and made sure that Nigeria completely returned into civilian administration. And it has been successful to date. We've seen different transfers of power in Nigeria. But Mr. Speaker, the problem still persists in this region. Corruption, the separation and isolation of our leaders from the people that they lead. I think those are the things that we actually need to look at and address. This report shouldn't just be read, adopted, and not looked into thoroughly, because I think we have issues in this region now. 10 years ago, this ECOWAS region thought that we had done away with coup d'etats, but all of a sudden, we have seen them coming and in full swing. So I think we really need to, not to just say we don't have anything to say, because most of us have a lot to say, but there's no need saying them because nothing comes out of it. I think we should thoroughly consider these things. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Alfari. Yes, sir.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like to commend the rapporteur and the committee, but in the recommendations that are made, recommendation number 6 stipulates, and I quote, calls on the ECOWAS committee to continue the consultation and undertake necessary advocacy action to review the protocol on democracy and good governance, the supplementary protocol on governance and democracy. This is vague. What should that revision target? Can we be given more information to explain the objective of such a revision? That is my concern, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
The rapporteur, you have the opportunity to respond to the issues raised. Yes, Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Presiding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Presiding, I think the points made by our colleagues are very germane. Taking into consideration what is happening in our region now. Unfortunately, we are not getting much cooperation from the Directorate of Political Affairs at the Commission. We really need to sit with the Commissioner to have this matter on coup d'etat addressed. We see our region now, and we must publicly say, had it not been for the bravery and support of Nigeria, by this time the region would have been in a different state. Fortunately, the intervention of Nigeria, either by hosting ECOWAS or by the military might and generosity, or most countries are maybe having a second thought. We saw what happened in Sierra Leone. Today, ECOWAS is now talking about having a force station in Sierra Leone. What happened a few days ago in Guinea-Bissau? ECOWAS already have a force in Guinea-Bissau. But what next? Which country could come next? We already have the exclusion of Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Niger. So I think, Mr. Presiding, this is a clear call for not just the Committee on Political Affairs, but for the entire Parliament, that we must take this as a rude awakening and take some very tough stands in working with the Committee on the Director of Political Affairs to see how we can address this situation properly.
Thank you. Any further intervention?
Mr. Speaker, I thought we should just commend the ECOWAS Commission for the step taken so far with respect to the 2 states that the last speaker has just mentioned. Because I know that they really came into it very early. That stalled the movement of the coupists. I think the House should commend them and encourage them to further on that part. That's my own.
Well, Minister, you are still raising an issue?
Mr. President, j'ai posé une question.
Honorable Speaker, I asked a question and I was expecting to have some clarification. I didn't get any answer. I'm talking about recommendation number 6 on page 12, Roman 6. Let me raise the matter again because the rapporteur was distracted when I was talking. Honorable Speaker, as I was saying, recommendation number 6 urges the ECOWAS Commission to continue advocacy for a revision of the supplementary protocol on democracy and good governance. And my point was that the recommendation is not telling us in what way that revision should be done. What are the concerns which led to the adoption of this recommendation? And I would like to have some clarification on that. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, after that the question was directed directly to the rapporteur, I would love for him to respond, then we can come in subsequently. Yeah, since it was directed to him. Let him respond, then I will come in, please. Thank you so much.
I thought you have further intervention.
Oh, no. Mine just continue on the same question, but I thought you should do first, then I'll do second.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Clemby.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I really apologize because when the question was being asked for raised, I was a bit distracted, so I did not really get the point well. But on this recommendation of the revision of the supplementary protocol, I believe that there have been many interactive sessions with the person in charge of this matter. And may he rest in peace, Mr. Okoro Dudu. He was the one who was the focal point of the Commission on this particular issue. We had many seminars, had discussions with him, but the points that constituted obstacles and did not permit the adoption of the supplementary protocol, and which are still being discussed at the level of the Commission and the authority of heads of states, are in fact issues that are highly political by nature, very sensitive, and that are being discussed at state level. Thank you, Ms. Honorable Speaker.
I think you have still not answered his question. He's asking you the rationale behind this recommendation.
Yes. Mr. President, let me come in then.
Yes, sir.
Look, Mr. President. Let me say this, Mr. President. No, please. No. I gave you the opportunity for you doing it, so they have recognized me as I'm flowing. Please. Mr. President.
Please.
I have first thought that I could defer it to you, but now I come back to me. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I think if you look at it, number 6, and taking cue from the concern being raised, some of the answers have been perfect. Mr. President, I think so now we're not nipping the thing here. We're not being real. Honestly, what ECOWAS or Africa, what ECOWAS need to do, whether the Commission or they think it's holistic, it's all about things, and not just the Commission. And not just the Commission, the Parliament, the Judiciary. They think it's holistic, Mr. President. We need to ensure that we strengthen institutions that will cut across the entire region. Therefore, one of such institutions, maybe let's do the issue of electioneering. Why is there all conflict in Africa, especially West Africa? It's the issue of electioneering. Do we have a centralized electioneering institution that will conduct, honestly, an election in almost all of West African states, or a group of eminent people that when there is an election, let it be an election that reflects the mosaic of West Africa. And not just a elaborate election, it's a long election. What happened today in those of our other countries that are trying to detach from us, it came because of electioneering. See what happened in Liberia? We had almost 10,000 election monitors, Mr. President. That was not overnight. They saw that there was looming threat in Liberia. Had they not done that, they knew what would have happened. You see what happened in neighboring Sierra Leone? Electioneering is a concern. Let call a spade a spade. Let's have an institution in West Africa that maybe we put money aside and we have them to conduct elections in all over the country. So national government who are themselves ruling cannot be referee and play at the same time. That is some of the problem in West Africa. If we do them as a president, we'll be making some headways. Recently, I was in Gaborone. West Africa, ECOWAS has done some very good things. I mean, the issue of 90 days stay. The issue of ensuring that we have professional living from one country to another country beyond 90 days. All regional body was saying, West Africa, you're doing well. Our only challenge that if we don't nip it, will be the course that will treat our path is the issue of electioneering. If electioneering are conducted free, fair, and transparent, as it was done recently in Liberia, many of the things will be the thing of the past. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I think the clarity and clarification, I don't know. It's quite very clear from what he's saying. And I believe if we have a regional, for instance, electoral body that will be charged with the responsibility of conducting elections in our various countries, it will solve a number of problems. And I believe when you get eminent people, like he did mention, and there's no country that does not have eminent people that are very fair and desirous of giving us the best. So it may form part of our recommendation. Thank you very much. You still want to intervene?
Monsieur le Président.
Honorable Speaker, this report is extremely important as regards some of its recommendations in particular. So I think that this is a time to revisit some debates that we have had very often in the region and which also explain the instability that we are experiencing in the region. The revision of this protocol, I think, involves a limitation of the number of terms of office, presidential terms of office in our country. That is the crux of the matter. The crisis that we are experiencing in most of the cases relate to the third term of office of presidents. The revision of the supplementary protocol should focus on that. The revision of the protocol should also go along and compel states to agree to have observers during elections, because there are some countries which in fact refuse to have observers on the ground when elections are taking place. And I think that we should come up with additional supplementary recommendations or explain further this recommendation. This is what I wanted to explain, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
With this, I want to believe the report is adopted. Adopted? Thank you. Honorable colleagues, in accordance with our program of activities, of our program of activities for the year 2003, and by the virtue of the provisions of Article 7 of the Supplementary Act A/SA1/1216/16 relating to the enhancement of the powers of the ECOWAS Parliament. The Parliament organized from September 11 to 14, 2023, parliamentary oversight missions to the following 8 bodies of the community. 1. ECOWAS Competition Regulatory Authority in Banjul, the Gambia. 2. The African Electric Energy Exchange System, Cotonou, Benin Republic. Regional Agency for Agriculture and Food in Lomé. And then 4. ECOWAS Project Preparation and Development Unit, Lomé. Togo. 5, Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, Dakar, Senegal. 6, ECOWAS Center for Gender Development in Dakar, Senegal. 7, ECOWAS Regional Electricity Sector Regulatory Authority in Accra, Ghana. 8, West African Monetary Agency, WAMA, Freetown, Sierra Leone. Now I put the draft report of Parliamentary Oversight missions to the community bodies up for discussion. For the procedure, the provision of Rule 84 of our rules will be applied. We will therefore have a joint discussion of the items. On this note, members of the Parliamentary Oversight missions will take turns to present a summary of their reports to the plenary. We will proceed to debate after the said presentations. Dear honorable members, dear colleagues, now the floor is given to the Parliamentary Oversight Mission to the ECOWAS Competition Regulatory Authority for its report. Honorable Tunkara, as the rapporteur, please adhere to the rules. You have to go to the summary.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand here before you to present the Parliamentary Oversight Mission of the ECOWAS Regional Competition Authority, ICRA, Banjul, the Gambia, on 11 to 14 September 2023. Honorable Speaker, introduction. An oversight mission was undertaken from the 11th to the 14th of September 2023 to Regional Competition Authority in Banjul, the Gambia. The mission was led by Honorable Medega Fagla Sedami, the first rapporteur of the Committee on Social Affairs, Gender, Women Empowerment, and comprised of the following honorable members of the ECOWAS Parliament. Honorable Bileji Trunkara, Vice Chair of Committee on Education, Science and Culture. Honorable Warren Sar, first rapporteur, Committee on Health. Honorable Carlos Alberto dos Santos Travares, member of the Committee on Public Accounts. Honorable Adama Silla, member of Committee on Social Affairs, Gender, and Women Empowerment. And lastly, Honorable Soklimbe Seno, member of the Committee on Social Affairs, Gender, Women Empowerment. Honorable Speaker, the objective of the mission is focused on the following thematic areas: adoption of the agenda, brief meeting on methodology of the oversight mission, a short presentation of the ECOWAS Regional Competition Authority on mandate roles in the sensitization of regional competition, its functioning activities and challenges, as well as the fiscal sources. Honorable Speaker, to page 3, quickly, outcomes of the mission, findings, key challenges, and recommendation. At the end of the mission, the honorable parliamentarian made some findings, identified the key challenges, and put forward for recommendations. Observation: ICRA has an area of regional competence that give it power to act practice with regional ramifications. Except for Ghana, Liberia, and Bissau, and Sierra Leone, most member states have national competition laws. The area of intervention of ICRA includes mainly abuse of market dominance, mergers and acquisition, as well as state subsidies, which objectives are to distort free competition. Lack of visibility of the activities of the authority is noted, and ICRA also deals with cases of economic activities or practices that are detrimental to free competitions and which, above all, affect interests of the consumers. An investigation report is prepared to submit to the assessment of its board of directors, which meets periodically to deliberate on the on sanctions. On challenges, in terms of the key challenges, to address and ensure a greater effectiveness of ICRA, the members of the mission noting the following recommendation. 1, an absolute lack of technical staff with expertise in competition or any other related field. Current staff Member 5, namely, the Executive Director, the Director of Administrative and Finance, Human Resource Officer, an accountant, and a driver, which means the office has only 5 employees, which is really understaffed. 2, the budget allocated was not initially intended for the program activities, but rather installation process. And 3, the failure to increase the budget in accordance with the ECOWAS budget directives is hampering the proper implementation of the agency's key activities. 4th, there is an administrative burden in the validation and signing of the legal text submitted to the legal services of the ECOWAS Commission for approval, in particular the draft manual of procedures governing the function of ECRA, the conditions of service of members of ECRA Board of Council, and the draft partnership agreement and the memorandum of initiated by ECRA for the cooperation between the ECOWAS and its partners in the sector of competition. Difficulties in collaborating between the states in implementation of its provisions relating to competition, in particular the transposition of the community provisions into a domestic legal system and absence of the competition council. These are some of the challenges that they face as an agency or as an authority in Banjul. And we want to recommendation to the Council of Authority and heads of government for them to adopt an appropriate organogram and equip ICRA with qualified members, human resource, to enable it to implement its programs. To allocate adequate funds to ICRA to enable it to carry out its activities, and particularly grant the 11% requested in the 2024 fiscal year. To the ECOWAS Commission, we want them to expedite the process and approval of the legal text relating on the one hand to the functioning of ICRA on the other hand. The ECOWAS relationship with its partners in competition. To member states, enforce the ECOWAS regional directive on competitions and particularly encourage Ghana, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, and Liberia, who do not yet have national competition law, to speed up the adoption of such laws, and also to strengthen cooperation between the member states on compliances with the applications of the community tax on consumption. Finally, within the framework of implementation of regional directive of the consumer protection, the ICRA could also collaborate with regional consumers association. The member state of Parliamentary Oversight Mission of the ICRA expressed their deep gratitude to the agency's executive director for his good leadership, which led to the success of this mission, done in Banjul, 14th September 2023. Thank you so much for indulgence.
Thank you very much, our brother and leader. Now the floor is given to the Parliamentary Oversight Mission to the West African Electric Energy Exchange System, WAP, for its reports. Noble Njai Fatimatu has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here to present the Parliamentary Oversight Mission to the West African Power Pool, WAP, in Abone, Calavi, from the 11th to the 15th of September, 2023. Introduction. A Parliamentary Oversight Mission was undertaken from the 11th to the 15th of September, 2023, to the West African Power Pool, and the mission comprised of the delegation of 6 members of the ECOWAS Parliament. It was headed by my humble self, also included as members of Parliament were Honorable Bida, Honorable Linda, Honorable Bamidele, Honorable Salifu, and Honorable Abdusalami Balarabe. The following administrative staff of the Parliament were also present: Dr. Mohamed Kabiru, Mrs. Blessing, and Mr. Teranoa. The objective of the mission was to enable the parliamentarians interact and exchange with the governing bodies of WAP on their programs and activities. In addition, it was also aimed at enabling the parliamentarians to discuss with the leaders on the actions that can be taken by the ECOWAS Parliament, and on the other hand, support the objectives of WAP, put forward recommendations to Parliament to ensure greater efficiency of the said system. The present report is an overview of the mission, and it sets out the vital elements. I will move on to the presentations. I won't go in detail, but I will give you the presenters and on what they presented on. On the status of implementation of the regional electricity market, a presentation was made by Mr. Sia Kam, Head of Customer Services and Marketing Division of the West African Power Pool. Another presentation was given on regional infrastructure, program, and mobilization of financial resources, presented by Dr. Maufemo Mojino. I think it is very important that I go through this presentation. It emerged from this presentation that WAP brings together companies and structures from both public and private sectors working in the energy sector. He stated in his presentation that the main outcome of the Master Plan 2018 to 2023 adopted by the ECOWAS heads of states and government in December 2018 through the Supplementary Act, as stated. 75 priority projects with a total investment cost estimated at $36.3 billion, including 128 high voltage transmission line projects with a total length of 293 kilometers, costing about $10.4 billion. And I will tell you the reason why I made emphasis on this, because our region lacks electricity, and we must focus on providing our people with the bare necessity of electricity. I will then go on the other presentation, enhancing the capacities of WAP and promoting excellence in WAP, presented by Zanu Choko, officer in charge of training, preparation, and implementation. The deliberations on the presentations followed, and recommendations to WAP. The following recommendations were made by the WAP to the ECOWAS Parliament. 1. ECOWAS Parliament should support the financing of WAP through approval of an agreed percentage of deductions levy from the regional electricity market transactions. 2. Member states should deal with security challenges that are likely to lead to unanticipated costs, delays of regional electricity projects. 3. Member states should protect electricity trade from political influence to render the regional electricity market competitive and viable. And this is more so looking at what happened to Niger after their coup d'etat. 5. ECOWAS should operationalize the Fund for Development and Financing of ECOWAS transport and energy sectors so that WAP can have resources to prepare pre-investment studies for projects rather than totally depending on donors. And our closing ceremony, the leader of the delegation, myself, expressed my gratitude for the hospitality accorded to the delegation by WAP representatives and promised to transmit the report of the meeting and work tool to members of Parliament for consideration and adoption. And in return, the Acting Secretary General also expressed appreciation of the initiative taken by the Parliament to visit WAP and stated that the interactive sessions they had with the delegation will no doubt scale up future collaborations in order to boost development in the region. Done in Abone, Benin Republic, 14 September, signed by the members of the delegation. Thank you.
Except for Honorable Salifu Isa. Honorable Fatimata. As if Salifu Isa didn't sign. Salifu Isa did not sign the report.
But the majority signed.
Thank you. Respected colleagues, now the floor is given to the Parliamentary Oversight Mission to the Regional Agency for Agriculture and Food, RAF, and the ECOWAS Project Preparation and Development Unit for its report. Honorable Abandao has the floor. Honorable Abandao.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my honor to present to you the report of the Parliamentary Oversight on Project Preparation and Development Unit of ECOWAS PPDU and the Regional Agency for Agriculture and Food, RAF, which took place between the 11th to 14th September 2023 in Lomé. Introduction. As part of the implementation of its 2023 activity or program, the ECOWAS Parliament carried out from 11 to 14 September 2023 a parliamentary oversight visit to two ECOWAS specialized agencies based in Lomé in the Togolese Republic. This includes the ECOWAS Project Preparation and Development Unit PPDU and the Regional Agency for Agriculture and Food, RAF. This parliamentary oversight visit is part of the implementation of ECOWAS Parliament's enhanced powers, which empower the institution to exercise parliamentary oversight functions over the activities of the community's program implementation bodies as prescribed by the Supplementary Act A/SA.1/12/16 on the enhancement of the powers of the ECOWAS Parliament adopted by ECOWAS Authority of Heads of States and Government on the 17th December 2016. The main objective of the mission were to enable the parliamentary delegation to meet and interact with the heads of these ECOWAS agencies, to obtain detailed information on their programs and activities, to identify measures and interventions undertaken by these agencies to address the challenges in the implementation of their various mandates, and to identify and agree on the roles that ECOWAS Parliament might play to supporting the activities and programs of these agencies. The parliamentary delegation consisted of the following members: Honorable Memunatu Ibrahima, the third Deputy Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament and Head of Delegation; Honorable Laminu Fugubukar, Chairman of Energy and Mines Committee; Honorable Patrick Kojovi Senambulovi, Vice Chairman of Energy and Mines Committee; Honorable Senanu Kuku Alipui, the second Rapporteur of Agriculture, Environment and Natural Resources Committee; and Mr. Ngesan Kwawo, Ndeson Yves, Committee Clerk; Mr. Amjad Emnye, Head of Research Officer; Ms. Yusuf Victoria Ozyohu, Protocol Officer; and Mr. Ayawo Astu, Interpreter. Adoption of the work program of the parliamentary oversight. This was adopted at the start of the mission. First of all, the adoption of the mission's program and work schedule, working session with ECOWAS specialized agencies, addressed by the head of the parliamentary delegation. and presentations by agencies, discussions, questions and answers, and then draft and adoption of the mission report. Permit me now, Mr. Speaker, to proceed to page 8 on recommendations. The ECOWAS mission at the end of its mandate made the following recommendations, general recommendations. The ECOWAS Commission and the ECOWAS Parliament should allocate more internal resources from the community levy for the co-financing of projects to act as a leverage to mobilize more resources from partners and as a guarantee for the financing of large-scale projects with tangible impacts on the population. The ECOWAS Commission and the specialized agencies, RAF and the PPDU, should take all necessary steps to diversify the sources of funding for these agencies to carry out their mandates properly. The ECOWAS Commission, the ECOWAS Parliament, and national parliaments should support the operationalization of ECOWAS's Transport and Energy Sector Development Fund, as well as the Regional Fund for Agriculture and Food, ECOWAS, to facilitate and accelerate resource mobilization for the implementation of regional priority projects and programs. The ECOWAS Commission and Parliament should, in addition to the efforts of member states, allocate more resources to the Regional Food Security Reserve to increase its capital so that it can cover at least 5 to 10% of the needs of countries in food and nutrition crisis. The ECOWAS Commission, the ECOWAS Parliament, and national parliaments should advocate that the transit of food reserve stocks to the countries most in need be facilitated, and that countries prioritize the replenishment of food reserve stocks. The ECOWAS Commission, ECOWAS Parliament, and national parliaments should support the implementation of the Regional Infrastructure Master Plan adopted by the ECOWAS heads of states in December 2021 as the authoritative infrastructure development framework for the West African region. B, a specific recommendation to the attention of ECOWAS Parliament to organize parliamentary oversight visits on the implementation of projects and programs carried out by ECOWAS institutions and specialized agencies. And the following honorable members signed: Honorable Memunatu Ibrahima, Third Deputy Speaker, and Honorable Laminu Fogo Bukar, Chairman of Energy and Mines, and Honorable Patrick Kojovi Senam Boluvi, as well as Honorable Senan Koku Apui, Second Rapporteur of Agriculture, Environment and Natural Resources Committee. Thank you.
Our sister and leader. Next is I now invite the floor. I now give the floor to the Parliamentary Oversight Mission to the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, GIBA, and the ECOWAS Center for Gender Development to present his report. Honorable Jalo Samba has the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand before you to present the Parliamentary Oversight Mission to ECOWAS institution and agency in Dakar, Senegal. Intergovernmental Group, Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, Jaba, ECOWAS Gender Center, Dakar. Honorable Speaker, the following members attended the meeting: Senator Edwin Melvin Suno, Junior Liberia, Chairperson, Committee on Political Affairs, Peace and Security, APRM, and he was the head of the delegation. Honorable Hervé Aka, Côte d'Ivoire, co-chair Committee on Legal Affairs and Human Rights. Honorable Karamo Kamara, Guinea-Bissau, co-chair Committee on Macroeconomic Policy, Economic and Economic Research. Honorable Aruna Meselia, Nigeria, member of the Committee of Health, and myself, the first rapporteur, Committee on Legal Affairs and Human Rights. Abdoulaye Villan of Senegal, second rapporteur, Committee on Trade, Custom and Free Movement. Honorable Suleiman Ndoye of Senegal, Vice Chair, Committee on Administration, Finance and Budget. Honorable Speaker, I will start with the introduction. In accordance with the approved activity program of 2023, as part of its oversight duties under the Supplementary Act relating to enhancement of power of the ECOWAS Parliament, the Parliament organized several oversight missions to program several oversight missions to the program implementing bodies of ECOWAS. Consequently, the Right Honorable Speaker, Dr. C.D. Tunis, nominated a parliamentary delegation to visit the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, an ECOWAS Gender Center based in Dakar from 11 to 14 September 2023 to conduct an oversight of their programs. The aim of the mission was to conduct on-the-spot assessment of the status of implementation of the institution and agency programs in the context of strengthening member state capacity to, in preventing money laundering and financing of terrorism and proliferation, as well as promote gender equality and empowerment of women and girls in the region, in the regional integration process, respectively. The specific objective of the mission include to assess the operational status of the institution and agency, to resource material, human and financial, made available to them to accomplish their mandate, and the activities carried out within the framework of combating money laundering and financing crimes, as well as gender advancement and development. To acquire information on the possible constraint and undertake necessary awareness, raising action with the national authority and partners that are likely to boost the effort of the institution and agency. To promote the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa and ECOWAS Gender Center in the implementation of their mandate. To enhance the capacity of the ECOWAS Parliament to contribute to the formulation of policies that support regional integration, peace and security. The delegation, led by distinguished Senator Edward Melvin Sino, Chair of the Standing Committee on Political Affairs, Peace and Security, and African Peer Review Mechanism, was composed of 8 members of ECOWAS Parliament. The delegation, ECOWAS Parliament, the delegation list is annexed, that I read earlier on before. Then members of the delegation resolved to conduct the mission according to the following work program: review the ECOWAS Parliament Oversight Tool, work visit to the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, work visit to ECOWAS Gender Center, ECOWAS Gender Center, courtesy visit to the Ministry of Women, the Family, Gender Equality, and the Protection of Children of the Republic of Senegal, courtesy visit to the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly of Senegal. Honorable Speaker, then I will proceed to the conclusion and recommendation at page 10. Conclusion and recommendation. At the end of the oversight mission, the delegation noted with satisfaction the successful conduct of the mission. They expressed their deep gratitude to the Director General and staff of JAVA, as well as the Director and staff of the ECOWAS Gender, for the hard work in facilitating the mission and for the cooperation accorded the delegation. They appreciate the necessary arrangements that were made to facilitate the interaction and national institutions, thus culminating in the overall success of the mission. Members also express appreciation to the Commissioner in charge of Human Development and Social Affairs at ECOWAS Commission for the courtesy to attend the meeting and for the intervention made. Members also express appreciation to the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly of Senegal and members of the Senegalese delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament. To the ECOWAS Parliament for their tenacious effort in ensuring the necessary modalities were put in place to facilitate the work of the delegation. As a result, the delegation made the following recommendation to member states. 1, strengthen domestic and international cooperation to increase effectiveness in the process, in the implementation of anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism regime. 2, adequate resource, adequately resource critical anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism institutions to enhance their operational efficiency. Number 3, address strategic deficiencies identified in their mutual evaluation report on anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism. 4, increase political commitment to prioritize anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism in view of recurring economic, political, and social crisis in the ECOWAS region. 5, strengthening collaboration between national institutions and the ECOWAS Gender Center to facilitate the implementation of gender-responsive programs and policies. 6, develop and implement policies to reduce the gender gap or gender parity index in ECOWAS member states. 7, work with the ECOWAS Gender Center to carry out research and aim informing public policy decisions in favor of equal access to rights between women and men in ECOWAS member states. Then B, to the ECOWAS Commission, expedite the recruitment of staff into vacant positions to resolve the insufficient human resources issued at JABA and the ECOWAS Gender Center. 2, consider budget increment in favor of JABA and the ECOWAS Gender Center in view of the critical nature of their mandate. Then 3, develop a clear and defined organogram and operational manual of procedure to guide the ongoing pooling arrangement regarding financial and administrative policies that existed between JABA and the ECOWAS Gender Center, especially considering the statute of JABA as an institution and the ECOWAS Gender Center as a specialized agency. 4, review the current remuneration and allowance rate at which staff members outside of headquarters are being paid to reflect the economic reality in member states. 5, speedily address the challenge of limited office space being experienced by both JABA and the ECOWAS Gender Center to allow for proper functioning, a better working environment, and increased productivity. Consider upgrading the ECOWAS Gender Center to an institutional status to allow the Gender Center to respond adequately to the global calls for gender equality and for gender equity and equality. 7, work with JABA and the ECOWAS Gender Center to seek more external support for their programs in view of the law compliance of member states in payment of the community levy. 8, consider granting a waiver to the ECOWAS Gender Center to urgently and speedily recruit staff to fill up some vacancies at the center. Then 9, enhance synergy between the ECOWAS Gender Center Commission geared toward optimizing timely and efficient service delivery to the ECOWAS Parliament. Undertake annual parliamentary oversight mission to ECOWAS institutions and agencies. 2, ensure the appointment of focal person in the ECOWAS Parliament who shall remain in very close contact with JABA and the ECOWAS Gender Center respectively. 3, request national delegation to place emphasis on the implementation of anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism and gender policies in the respective member states. 4, advocate for increased budgetary allocation to JABA and the ECOWAS Gender Center. 5, promote anti-money laundering, counter-financing of terrorism legislative reform across member states due to recent changing of FATF standard to ensure member state framework align with anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism international standard. Then 6, mobilize political support for anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism effort at national and regional level to deepen compliance with international anti-money laundering and then counter-financing of terrorism standard in order to improve regional security and safeguard the integrity and stability of our financial system. 7, constitute a parliamentary ad hoc committee to champion the passage of a supplementary act transforming the ECOWAS Gender Center into a full-fledged ECOWAS institution. 8, include the ECOWAS Gender Center within the program of its next ordinary session to enable the center create more awareness and advocate for the increased support of its activities. Done in Dakar on the 14th September 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our brother and leader. The floor is now given to the Committee on Parliamentary Oversight Mission to the West African Monetary Agency, WAMA, for its report. When Veronica has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm here to present the Parliamentary Oversight Mission on West Africa Monitoring Agency, WAMA. This was done in Freetown on the 11th to the 14th September 2023. I will just take you through for time. I will just present the introduction. The ECOWAS Parliament embarked on a parliamentary oversight mission from the 11th to the 14th September 2023 in Freetown, Sierra Leone. In accordance with Article 7C of the Supplementary Act relating to the enhancement of its powers over the activities of program implementing bodies of the community and adopt the appropriate resolutions. 1. 2. The main objective of the oversight exercise was to visit the West African Monitoring Agency, WAMA, to provide members of the ECOWAS Parliament delegation with insights into the activities of the implementation of ECOWAS Monitoring Cooperation Program, geared towards the creation of the ECOWAS single currency. It also enabled members to be better informed on WAMA's alignment with the strategic objective 4x4 in relation to the deeper regional integration of the ECOWAS community. The specific objectives were to, 1, provide updates on the progress of establishing the ECOWAS single currency and the regional monitoring economic integration. 2, build the capacity of members of parliament with knowledge to contribute to the formulating policies that support regional monitoring economic integration. 3, access information on the possible constraints in establishing the ECOWAS single currency. Participation in the oversight mission included members and staff of the ECOWAS Parliament delegation to Freetown and representatives of the West African Monitoring Agency, WAMA. Annex is in attendance at the back of the document. Because of time, I'll just take you to the courtesy call that we made to some areas. On the visit to the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the second Deputy Speaker, Honorable Sani Malam Chabu Bokari, sorry for pronouncing it, and on behalf of the ECOWAS Parliament delegation, expressed his thankfulness and informed the Minister of the purpose of the oversight mission to Freetown. Consequently, the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Sierra Leone welcomed and expressed her delight to the ECOWAS Parliament delegation for the consideration in visiting the ministry and choosing an ECOWAS program implementing agency in Freetown to oversee its activities to be sure it aligns with the ECOWAS strategic objectives. She commended the community parliament as a partner in progress for its collaborative efforts with the Foreign Affairs Ministry and wished the delegation a fruitful oversight exercise. In the same manner, on the visit to the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, MOFED, the second Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the ECOWAS Parliament delegation, expressed his appreciation and informed the Minister of the purpose of the oversight mission to Freetown. Subsequently, the Minister of Planning and Economic Development of the Republic of Sierra Leone welcomed and expressed her gratitude to the parliamentary delegation to Freetown. She then provided an overview of the ongoing ECOWAS programs and projects in Sierra Leone. She highlighted aligning Sierra Leone's mid-term development plan with the ECOWAS 4x4 strategic objective, emphasizing the country's commitment to regional integration and development. The minister expressed eagerness for further collaborative projects and again appreciated the delegation's visit. Lastly, the Honorable Minister wished the parliamentary delegation a fruitful oversight exercise. We made a tour to the areas. You can see it as stated in your pamphlet. I will take you down to the recommendations that was made. After the interactive session with the West African Monitoring Agency, the Parliamentary Oversight Delegation recommended the following. 1, WAMA to support capacity building programs for member states and other relevant stakeholders such as the ECOWAS Parliament, on every topic towards the realization of the single currency agenda. There should be a joint sensitization mission between WAMA and ECOWAS Parliament to the political authorities on the necessity and importance of attaining the convergence criteria by member states. WAMA should collaborate with the ECOWAS Commission to reinforce the political will through commitment towards successfully implementing the ECOWAS Monitoring Cooperation Program. WAMA should review and set convergence criteria feasible for member states to comply with in attaining the desired regional monitoring economic integration. The closing. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the second Deputy Speaker, the Right Honorable Sani Malam Kabu Bokari, expressed his gratitude to his colleagues and members of the ECOWAS Parliament for a successful conclusion of the 2023 Oversight Mission. He thanked the staff of the Parliament for their steadfast and immense support during the oversight exercise. He also thanked the interpreter for the competence he displayed throughout the mission. Furthermore, he appreciated the service providers' invaluable support throughout the meeting. Most importantly, on behalf of the delegation of the ECOWAS Parliament 2023 Oversight Mission, the second Deputy Speaker expressed his profound gratitude to God Almighty for the protection and good health enjoyed by all. The list of the delegations are highlighted as follows. Thank you very much.
Thank you, our sister and leader. Finally, I now give the floor to the Parliamentary Oversight Mission to the ECOWAS Regional Electricity Sector Regulatory Authority to present its report. Honorable Isa Philomena has the floor. You say? You can hear it? I said, I now give the floor to the Parliamentary Oversight Mission to the ECOWAS Regional Electricity Sector Regulatory Authority to present its report. Honorable Isa Philomena has the floor.
Bom dia, Sr. Presidente.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker. I'm here to present the mission, the Oversight Mission of the Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority of ECOWAS, ERERA, which took place from the 11th to the 14th of September 2023 in Accra, Ghana. The delegation of ECOWAS MPs carried out an oversight mission to ECOWAS Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority, ERERA, located in Ghana, Accra, from 11 to 14 September 2023, in accomplishment of the Parliament's enhanced powers to exercise parliamentary oversight functions over the activities of program implementing bodies of the community as captured in the Supplementary Act A/SA.1/12/166 relating to the enhancement of the powers of the ECOWAS Parliament, adopted by the Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS on 17 December 2016. The main purpose of the mission was to meet and interact with the management of ERERA and get detailed briefings on their programs, activities, achievements, challenges, as well as measures put in place to address challenges in the implementation of the agency's mandate and to identify and agree on roles ECOWAS Parliament can play to support the agency's activities and programs. The delegation was led by Honorable Ahmed Idris Waze, First Deputy Speaker and Head of Delegation, and comprised of the following members of Parliament: honorary member of parliament also welcomed the MPs of Ghana and for the mission. After that, the members were introduced and there were deliberations. And the draft agenda was presented. I'm now going to move to page 6. To page 6 of the document. I'm going to move to page 6 and I'm going to focus on the recommendations and conclusions of the Oversight mission. Following the discussions, the Parliament delegation, mindful of their enhanced oversight powers over programs implementing bodies, commended the agency for opening up on their operations, on their programs, and challenges for intervention. The Parliament delegation acknowledged and appreciated the importance of the agency in the region, and the delegation also thanked the authorities of Ghana for the integration role the country has been playing over the years, bearing in mind Ghana's contribution in ensuring hitch-free operations of the agency, and therefore made the following recommendations. First of all, the ECOWAS Parliament and ECOWAS Commission to ensure that ERERA is allocated adequate funds at budget formulation level of the Administration and Finance Committee, AFC, and during budget consideration by the Parliament and Council of Ministers meeting to deliver its mandate. Secondly, the ECOWAS Parliament and the ECOWAS Commission to ensure that donor funding opportunities are open to ERERA in order to have multiple sources of funds to deliver the agency's mandate, looking at the importance of the agency in the region. Thirdly, the ECOWAS team, the Parliament and ECOWAS and the national parliament of member states should ensure an increase in the production, transmission and distribution of reports of member states to improve the rationalization of electricity available in the region, bearing in mind the importance of electricity for the development, for economic development. 4, the ECOWAS Parliament and the national parliaments of member states must ensure with administration the oversight and regulation, support and effective control of the production, transportation and distribution of electricity to member states with a view to having responsibility and transparency within the community. 5, the ECOWAS Committee, the ECOWAS Parliament, in collaboration with the Parliament of Ghana and the Government of Ghana, should support the project to support the headquarters of ERERA with support of $5 million from the World Bank as an objective to make it possible for ERERA to function without any difficulty, bearing in mind the nature of the agency and the importance that it has for the benefit of the community. 6, the ECOWAS Committee, the ECOWAS Commission must resolve quickly the problem of shortage of staff affecting ERERA to facilitate its functioning for the benefit of the community. The Commission must take measures to have ERERA adopt an organized administrative framework for it to be able to fulfill its mandate. 8, the ECOWAS Parliament should also defend through its parliament, through its national parliaments, that the regulatory agency for electricity of member states to limit to support ERERA as a regulatory agency for electricity supply and for the production, transmission and distribution of electricity for the benefit of ECOWAS. I will now move to the conclusions. To conclude,
exprimiu a sua.
The head of delegation expressed his gratitude to the people and government of Ghana and to the Parliament of Ghana for the warm welcome and for the support afforded to the Parliament mission in Ghana. Unfortunately, the monetary institution, WAMI, the resident representative of ECOWAS were not in the city and were on official mission, and the delegation could not visit their offices. The head of delegation thanked the Honorable Alexander Matters, member and head of delegation of the Ghanaian MPs to the ECOWAS Parliament, for his support in organizing the mission and to guarantee the success of the mission. He thanked the management of area for its cooperation and also the members of the delegation for their work and for their performance, their spirit of organization, and which guaranteed the success of area. He also thanked the members of staff for their performance and support to guarantee the success of the mission. And the mission was concluded on that note, and honorable members can see the list of participants which is annexed, the list of participants which is annexed to this document. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our sister and leader. Thank you, rapporteurs. Thank you, the heads of parliamentary oversight missions. Now, the general debate is open. MPs who may wish to intervene in the debate are requested to register on the intervention list. Honorable Sako.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is with a lot of interest that I followed the presentations of the reports from the delegations which participated in the oversight missions. But I have noted, though, that the choice of members of the delegations did not bear in mind the interests of the missions. I had the Committee on Industry and Private Sector, and I was co-chaired of the joint committee, which in fact met the commissioner to decide on the different texts relating to electricity, but and I was surprised to observe that even before the setting up of the joint committee, which produced a report, we sat and took a report to be submitted to Parliament, that there were missions on that same topic to WAP and Herrera. And how do you really want us to produce a report, because we represent the whole of Parliament? So we listen to commissioners, ask them questions, but did not participate in any mission on the different in the different bodies concerned. So the question that I'm raising here is, how are the different members of committees who participate in oversight missions, how are they selected? The second point that I would like to raise here is that I have also noted regarding the composition of the different delegations, that there is there is no hierarchy, because there are some chairs or deputy chairs that participate or are head of missions. Now, doesn't hierarchy within the ECOWAS Parliament take into account at that point when setting up committees? Now, my second question relates still to hierarchy. Now, here, if I may, I would like to urge the Bureau to ensure that from now on, heads of committees are included, because it is not the case at all. But in our national parliaments, for instance, this is borne in mind. President of committees are borne in mind whenever there are ceremonies or events taking place within our own parliaments. Thank you.
Maybe a quick response before we proceed to the next person. I appreciate their contribution and concern. Maybe the lacuna is coming from the guide that give the speaker the prerogative to nominate. But I believe continuity is one other thing that is important in parliamentary business. And so it's noted, and I pray, and I believe it will not happen next. There will be always inclusion, at least for continuity and flow. The chairman of committees are supposed to be part of the delegation, going particularly to the agencies they are supervising. Thank you very much. Honorable Sekilembe.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I applaud all the rapporteurs for the quality of their presentation. And I'd like to once again express my wholehearted satisfaction with the conduct of these oversight missions in our member states and to the agencies. Mr. Speaker, I would wish that next time these oversight missions should go to our national borders so that we could liaise with the embassies and the institutions based in our countries to carry out missions at the borders to ensure the full implementation of the free movement and persons which we have been clamoring for within our sub-region. That's my first concern. My second concern has to do with the last report on the oversight mission to the Regional Electricity Regulatory Agency of ECOWAS. On recommendation they said that the ECOWAS Parliament and the ECOWAS Commission should make sure that that RERA is given adequate funds at AFC meetings. I would like to correct this to say that the AFC does not prepare a budget, but it examines and considers the budget so that this should be adequately taken into account. I would like to once again salute the initiative behind these missions, and I wish that it will be more active and to center on oversight at our borders. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I believe these are very straightforward interventions that may not require answers. With this, I want to pray our colleagues for the adoption of this report. You still want?
There's one that is not complete. The ERERA report is not complete.
What makes it not complete?
I have from page 6 and then page 8. I'm not sure whether it applies to all English copies.
I will beg for your understanding. It will be made available to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And also, I have a comment to make on the Giaba report, because I was a part of an oversight function that went to Giaba in 2018, and the same complaints that they are making, for example, the office space, is being made again since 2018. So I think it needs to be looked into, because we shouldn't just go for oversight and then come back 3 years later, go back, and then the same thing comes again. And also, the reason for these oversights are to give recommendations. I believe that these recommendations this report should have been laid before the adoption of the budget, because there are some that have financial implications. So I think it's just comment. I said it before and I'll say it again.
Comments noted. Thank you. Adopted. The reports are adopted. Thank you. We now proceed to the second item on the agenda of our plenary sittings. Respected colleagues, second item is presentation of personal statement of a member of the ad hoc committee on recruitment and funds for the sensitization of campaign. Now, by way of reminder, the draft interim report of the ad hoc committee on recruitment and funds for the sensitization campaign was presented to the plenary at the sitting of December 9, 2023. Following the presentation of the interim report, and in accordance with the provisions of Rule 67, Paragraph 1 of Rule 1, I quote, the representative who requests to make a personal statement shall be heard at the end of the discussion of the item of the agenda being dealt with, or when the minutes of the sitting to which the request for the leave to speak are considered for approval. End of quote. The plenary granted the request to make a personal statement from Honorable Shiaka Musa Sama as a member of the ad hoc committee on recruitment and funds of the funds of sensitization campaign. On that note, Honorable Shiaka Musa Sama, please present to the plenary the summary of your personal statement to the interim report of the ad hoc committee.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have an introductory remark. As the chair of the ad hoc committee, I'd like to issue a statement before the honorable member of the committee makes his own statement. Thank you. With your permission, Mr. Speaker.
Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, the members of the Bureau, honorable members of Parliament, dear colleagues, in my capacity as the chair of the ad hoc committee, may I proceed, Mr. Speaker? Thank you. May I come up to the podium, please? Yeah, it's a statement. May I come up to the podium, please? I was saying that may I come up to the podium to issue my statement, Mr. Speaker?
Save our time.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of the Bureau, honorable members of Parliament, dear colleagues, In my capacity as the chair of the ad hoc committee set up to consider the modalities for the purchase of flight tickets, on sensitization funds, and staff recruitment, I would like to, before debates are open on the report of the ad hoc committee, address my sincere gratitude to Plenary for the opportunity accorded us to beam the searchlight on these matters and to make recommendations and proposals with a view to profiling solutions to the thorny concerns that we have been expressing for some time. Permit me to state, Mr. Speaker, the importance of this ad hoc committee as a parliamentary committee, which is to inform and sensitize our populations on the stakes of regional integration and to promote and defend the principle of transparency, of accountability and good governance. To this end, I am pleased to state that throughout our sittings, we were guided by a fundamental objective, that of to question the legality and legitimacy of the act and actions that we are carrying out in the interest of our community here at the Parliament. It is dear to me, therefore, to state that our deliberations and the conclusions of our work were not targeted at any person. What is the status of the Parliament or the staff member? This is true too, that the MP is speaking in his personal capacity, and this cannot be linked to any institution nor receive any imperative mandate in accordance with Article 19 of our Supplementary Act. Mr. Speaker, we expect, therefore, that the report that we have laid before Plenary would give useful information to take informed decision, and this we owe citizens and other organs of the community on the will of the ECOWAS Parliament to effectively consider all issues affecting the community. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, I wish that discussions be open since the report of this ad hoc committee has already been read, and that debates be opened before allowing this member of the ad hoc committee to present his minority report. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, respected colleagues, we have debated on this subject matter adequately before this moment. Just a minute. I think I also have the right and I deserve to be heard. We have debated on this matter adequately. Our attention was brought to us regarding our rules, that the normal procedure, which is even quoted today in today's proceedings as in the Chamber's guide for the Speaker, is that he will make his comment at the end of the presentation. And I want to take the quote again. A representative who requests to make a personal statement shall be heard at the end of the discussion of the item of the agenda being dealt with, or when the minutes of the sitting to which the to which the request for the leave to speak are considered for approval. End of quote. Just a minute. I say we are supposed to be guided. We are legislators, and the rule now allows us to regulate ourselves, and that is part of what is given to us. I do not think that we need to bother ourselves to go tearing ourselves on issues that are no issues, because the difference between us and the animal kingdom is obedience of our rules and regulations. And I want to beg for understanding. that without any sentiment, and I don't want us to be too emotional as members are beginning to get on this matter. One, this subject matter is about our welfare and welfare of members. Two, it's about the point for equity, fairness, to which we all represent here to show in representing our communities. I don't think there is any member of this community that is not our own. Every member of ECOWAS is our own. And we should be seen to speaking in one tune regarding whether we are right or wrong. Where we are right, we improve. Where we are wrong, we change step and do the right thing. That's my plea, and that's what I want to beg members to please, kindly, consider every part of this region as our own. Until we do that, we will be missing the track and will not be doing the right thing. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. So, no, sorry, Bilan.
Merci. Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the light of the article that you just read, I'd like to, in all good conscience, and having been part of those who were mandated by a plenary to pore over matters of common interest and to report back to you at the end of the mission of this ad hoc committee. I'd like to address my colleagues after having indicated how much I was pleased, as well as the honorary privilege to sit with them in this parliament and having earned their trust as a member of the ad hoc committee. But I would like to say that for those who have watched me ever since I have been here, you would all bear me witness that I am first of all very loyal, maybe very strong on some matters. I try to keep true to myself and my conscience with each and every one of you, but above all with our community. It is on this basis, Mr. Speaker, that I'd like to remind us that we come from different countries and parliaments because we are all from different languages and cultures, so much so that what might obtain in the Anglophone countries, relatively what we call the Minority Report, this is something that is alien to us in the Francophone countries. But when there is divergence, the only source that we could share or to draw upon is our rules of procedure as ECOWAS and our guiding texts. Now, our texts have beautifully captured it that each one of us would give their point of view, and this applies to this person who wants to give his own opinion, not to mention plenary, because plenary is sovereign, and so it's compelled to accept all opinions, but the committee reports to the parliament, but it is, plenary, but it's the plenary that commits the whole parliament as a whole. Our effort is to report back to you, and in all good conscience, I would like to talk about the challenges that we faced. The first difficulty was, first of all, to get the honorable members to respect themselves and thereby respect plenary. You would remember that this is difficult, but in an intelligent and democratic manner, the committee was set up. And this committee was not supposed to be an open committee in its composition. It was constituted of one honorable member from each member state. And so during our work, right from the first day, a colleague whose name I will not mention came in and said that he was there, that the committee was despite that the committee was working on the mandate given to it. And then secondly, a colleague came in, not to take part in the debates, but to impose on us his presence, so much so that he impeded and disrupted the work of the committee that day. Mr. Speaker, this means that the issue that we have to consider are very sensitive ones and could touch on the honor of members of parliament here today and in the future, and this could affect the respectability of the colleagues that we have in the parliament here and now and in the future. And there were some colleagues that wanted to intervene, but I would like to applaud the discipline as well as the elegance of members of the committee who, in respect for the parliament and the committee, and even the colleague that get crushed, as if he had the legitimacy and the prerogative to be there, whereas he was even absent when the committee was set up, still came in. And so this is a very sensitive nature that in a gathering like this could raise passions as well as concerns and anguish. It's true, when we work in accountability, in transparency and clarity, we have nothing to fear because this argument, this matter deserves that all of us rub shoulders together. And Mr. Speaker, we worked in this committee and nobody looked us in the eye, whether man to man or woman to woman or woman to man, to say that he had a contrary opinion to submit in plenary. And so this begs the question. And when this report was read here in plenary, our colleague Soklempe, Honorable Soklempe, who was faithful to the report of work, and we had reports even on Facebook of matters of interest as well as issues of diversion, called someone in the parliament and has divulged the content of this report. Mr. Speaker, let's all be aware that we are all working for our community and for Africa, and so we don't have the right to soil the image of this parliament. It is unfortunate that for 5 years you were given the mandate of this parliament and you operated as at will, and you acted in diversions and abuses, and you come here to complot, and you are asking Parliament. So I'm calling on Parliament for all of us to stand so that justice, good governance and transparency could be the order of the day. So, Mr. Speaker, this is what I have to say in good conscience, that we should all have a good conscience in the interest of our community and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we have a register, and I will appeal to all of us to listen to our colleagues keenly so that we can resolve in the interest of our community and to the glory of God. That's my prayer. Colleagues, because of the long list, I will urge our colleagues and my colleagues to please kindly intervene within 3 minutes so that others can contribute. We have for now 10 persons who have indicated. Honorable Tunkara.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I want us to remind ourselves that this plenary gave us a tax. Why did plenary deem it fit to establish an ad hoc committee, select or nominate members to look at various issues at hand and report back? Honorable Speaker, without fear or favor, with honesty and integrity, the committee went through interrogating the various relevant documents that will add value to the matters under discussion. Looking at the issue of ticket, we interrogated that the relevant clause that was mentioned does not stand water because members of parliament are not staff of ECOWAS Parliament. Therefore, decision on staff regulation cannot capture members of parliament. That's our honest opinion. We are stand to be corrected. Second was the issue of the payment of lump sum for sensitization. We interrogated relevant documents, and then we've now noticed that it has been budgeted, but there was a letter, an audit forensic finding that flagged the implementation of this sensitization, and that has created impediment by a block for it to be implemented. Now, to sanitize Parliament and do things correctly, we've resolved that we'll work a program where each delegation will be given this program to go and implement and report back adequately with terms and reference. Coming to the last matter, which is an audit finding. If the auditors did not hesitate and they did not afraid to flag a particular audit finding as read, I don't think Parliament should shy away in conducting a responsibility. We interrogated documents vis-a-vis the modalities and process versus what are the procedures, what are the relevant article documents in line. We found that there is a variances, there is a negation to the practice and the end results. What is unfortunate, if you read the letter of the president saying that there are so many candidates that came through this process, then therefore this parliament should not also do a selective justice to one individual. We have to interrogate deep down, not only one person be flagged. And therefore, I want to call upon this committee, the plenary, to elongate the term of this committee to make sure the claim in which it is in the letter of the president that some people came through such procedure and was not flagged by auditors. Why one person is flagged, then it is now left to the committee to invite, to make sure that justice is done to all. But according to the relevant document we see, definitely the process is in variance to the said provision. Article 2 sub B, there shouldn't be any appointment without advertisement. That is what the article is saying, or the rules are saying. But we have now also sensed that now that there has been a claim that several people, based on the MS recommendation, this has been a trend, then the plenary should allocate time for the other committee to deep down so that at least we are not seen as witch hunting, we are not seen as just interested in one single candidate. If justice is to be served, must be served to all. I want to put that in record without fear or intimidation. Thank you so much.
Let's be orderly. I think he has put the summary of what is required. If the investigate panel found out what was brought in is not in accordance with the law, and then there are others, what they are praying now is for them to have extension of time to look into other issues of the same staffing. And I think it's fair to do that, and we should allow that to take place. That's my own prayer from the chair. Except if somebody have a contrary, we'll make a rule on that one. Those in favor could indicate by raising their hands. Against, say nay. No, they excuse me. What he is saying or what he prayed the parliament, can we please have attention? What he's praying the parliament to do is to allow the ad hoc committee the extension of time to look into, excuse me, until you hear me before, to look into the issues of staff who possibly have come through the same way. Because justice to one, it should be justice to all. We should not do selective judgment. And I agree to that one. We should not do that one. We should be fair to all our committee members. That's my stand. Thank you. But my stand is not your stand. No. I want us to take a decision on this because he has stressed so that first, do we agree to what he has said? Can we raise our hands to indicate so that we do go through proper voting? Those who are in favor of it can correct.
Monsieur le Président, s'il vous plaît, Monsieur le Président, notre rapport a fait.
Honorable Speaker, our report came up with recommendations, the same recommendation, and said that there should be an in-depth investigation on the recruitment in general in Parliament.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
That's all. He's assumed this one is taken. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir,
yes, sir.
Before taking this, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a style. To me, it's a style of just stalling this. Or this is supposed to come after all the deliberation. They are not, the committee members are not allowing the other members of the House to contribute on this issue. They are the one, if you see what has been happening, it's only them. And this thing is not about them. No part can claim to be important than the whole. They have done their own work. They're supposed to allow us to take their report and go through it.
But sir,
yes,
sir, I agree. I agree to your own.
When are we coming back?
Excuse me, sir. I don't know the members of committee. When I asked for the register, this is what I have that is guiding me. And the register that's what the rule says. After the presentation, you open for contribution. The contribution is not limited to those who are members or no members. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. I agree to the sentiment that they should be fair to allow non-members. I don't know the members. I wasn't here when the ad committee was set. I don't know who are the members of the ad committee. I must be frank. So allow me to go so that my eyes, as you see now, is to be fair to all.
Mr. Zukasa. Zungara. Ajaratu.
Okay.
And even
yeah, you have the floor. Thank you. After him, you speak, sir.
Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, for the last 4 years, first let me thank the committee for a good job. And let me thank you for your fairness as you conduct these proceedings. Mr. Speaker, for the last 4 years in this parliament, I've been one of those, maybe most time in private, but there was a meeting in Accra, and some of my colleagues were in that meeting where we opposed the procedure in which our tickets have been procured at this parliament. The issue with this ticket, Mr. Speaker, I said in Accra, and I will use the exact word I used in Accra, I believe is bordering on criminality. That's my belief. Yes, because, Mr. Speaker, you cannot have, and the Speaker himself, if he was here, he would tell you that the one disagreement we have had for 4 years is the issue of how our tickets are being procured. This is one disagreement we have had. You cannot take the budget of the community and the amount that is in the budget for ticket is far less than what we are paying Waguru for ticket. If I bought a personal ticket from Monrovia to Abuja and back to Monrovia, it will cost me maybe about 2,000 or little under 2,000. But when Parliament buys the same ticket from Waguru, it costs us $4,000–5,000 US. So how are we saving money in this community by saying that parliamentarians cannot buy their own tickets and Waguru must buy our tickets. So I believe the work of the committee on the issue of ticket, Mr. Speaker, this issue must be investigated thoroughly. And Waguru as a friend, because, for example, at the ECOWAS Commission, when I first came in this parliament, I was the vice chair on the finance committee. At the ECOWAS Commission, the commission deals with ASCA directly. They pay for ticket from ASCA. The parliament deals with a company in Cotonou called Waguru. If you look at the comparison, what they pay for ticket at the commission and what we pay for ticket at the parliament is like number 6 and number 7. The commission pay less, we pay more. So the recommendation from this committee that we should investigate the matter of this ticket, Mr. Speaker. I will leave this parliament one day, but I will leave with a clear conscience and a good heart if this issue of ticket is, because people have been linked to this ticket, including me, that have nothing to do with it. And that's why I wanted this opportunity today to talk about this ticket issue. It must be investigated, and if Waguru have been stealing from this parliament, or whoever has been involved, they must restitute the money to this community. That's my issue on the ticket. On the sensitization funds, Mr. Speaker, I believe that the management did not treat us right. We have a budget of the parliament. And if we go and we pass a budget and the budget is approved by plenary, if there's any change to implementing that budget, we are parliamentarians. You can either call us in a closed session and you explain to us that this is in your budget, but it cannot be implemented because of A, B, C, D reason. So that we get to know. But we cannot pass a budget for sensitization funds that should go to the countries, to the members, and the money is suspended and there is no explanation. So I think management needs to explain to us what has happened to this money, and if they have been using it, let us have a comprehensive breakdown, or the money should be paid to. Besides that, Mr. Speaker, in addition to even that parliamentary fund, I mean the sensitization fund that's not in the report, in our last meeting, I think it was 2019 in Benin, in Cotonou, we passed a budget. In that budget, we were to have liaison officers in our various countries. That our parliament will pay for those people. It was in the budget. It was never implemented. If there were any reason why it wasn't implemented, we should have been called here as a body and explain to us why it wasn't implemented. So again, on count 2 of the committee report, I think we need to expand on those other items that were in our budget to our benefit that have not been implemented, to investigate and find out why it has not been implemented, and let a comprehensive report be made to that effect. On the third item, Mr. Speaker, you gave us 3 minutes, so I use 1 minute for each, so I still get the last 1 minute. On the third one, Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with my colleague Tungara from the Gambia. Mr. Speaker, and to you, Mr. Speaker, the way you have handled this matter, let us call a spade a spade. If the recruitment of any staff in this community, we have oversight. Let us not forget that. That's why we take oversight missions. So if the recruitment process of a staff violates the staff regulation, let it be brought to book. My problem that I have, and I'm happy that Tungara, who's a member of the committee, has spoken on it, it should not be border on witch hunt. If there are several community staff, other employees, that I know of instances where staff have applied for one position and was shortlisted for a particular position. And during the recruitment process, the staff is given another position in another category. But if we single out one staff in the entire community and just hammer on the staff, Mr. Speaker, like you said, it will not be fair, and I think it borders on witch hunt. So let us invite the Auditor General. If the committee need to extend the work, let them extend the work. Let the Auditor General give us a comprehensive list of staff in similar categories that have been employed or transferred wrongly, and let a decision be taken holistically. But we should not focus on a particular staff. I think it's intimidation, it's harassment, and this staff could suffer a mental problem, or anything will happen here, it will look like we are witch hunting. That's my only problem I have with the committee's work. If we can expand on that, Mr. Speaker. Besides that, I want to publicly thank the committee. I think they did a good job, but more needs to be done to rebrand this parliament so that we can be fair to each other. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, last August, there was a thorough review on recruitment. I think it's fair if that report is laid before any other report on recruitment. And I agree with Senator Snow. It shouldn't be specific on one employment. I think that report, we worked hard, we used taxpayers' money, came here for 10 days, worked on that report, and that report is ignored, and now we are doing it. We have to do it globally if we are seen to be serious and fully committed to what we are doing. I think we should go back to that report.
Well, colleagues,
thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my colleagues, for raising the concerns. I was not in plenary when I was nominated to serve on this committee. If you read through our terms of reference, it was specific relative to the recruitment. It was specific, and that is exactly what we did. But to be just, in our recommendation, we recommended that Parliament should also consider any other recruitment that falls foul, that falls short of requirements. It is in our recommendation. So there is no need for anybody to condemn the committee in any way. We worked based on the terms of reference, and even went ahead to say, look, we also observed that this thing might have happened to some other persons, that Parliament should consider it in totality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Orlando.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. After all the interventions that we have had from the floor, I think that on the point at stake, which has to do with the purchase of tickets, question of sensitization, we have reached an agreement. There is a consensus from plenary on those 2 points. On those 2 points, there is consensus: purchase of tickets and sensitization. And I would urge plenary to approve those 2 points and to implement what the report is recommending. And for the recruitment, I think that the committee can be given more time to address that issue. But the first 2 points are clear. There is a consensus. We should approve, and the Parliament implements. Now, for the recruitment, we will go deeper into the matter, and the committee can continue working. So I suggest that we approve those 2 points that have led to a consensus at the level of plenary.
It is not just that one. Let's be fair and honest to ourselves. What Honorable Snow, distinguished senator, raised are very fundamental. He didn't just stop to say, okay, go and implement. He went further to ask for the deep investigation. And that is how parliamentary work is done. Let us not pretend. It's to adopt the report, extend the time of the committee to go and finish the remaining business and report back to plenary. That's how it's done. That's how it should be done. Thank you.
There was a committee that did a deep investigation.
Well, I'm not saying no. You cannot come and you can't come now and put a clock in this one because there was a report. That's not how parliamentary business are done. You know it. Why do you want to cause problem? If there's another report, it's now for the committee to take cognizance of that report. It's not for me. Thank you. Yes, sir. I will get back to you. Just be patient, sir.
Mr. Speaker, you are rude on this issue. If we go up and down, we will not live here. We give the committee more time to go and do excessive report and present to us.
I think what should be done correctly is to adopt the report, allow the committee to go into further investigation in the areas that have been raised. Thank you. Adopted? Adopted?
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Speaker.
Well, we are,
Mr.
excuse
Speaker,
me,
put the issue
excuse
on the
me.
vote. Honorable Speaker.
We are in a parliament. And in a parliament, we do not need to cause ourselves hurt one another. Can we indicate by voting those who want the report to be adopted
Honorable Speaker,
and those who don't? No, excuse me.
Excuse me, Honorable Speaker. I think you had a list the people who show interest to take part in the debate. But it appears you are not following the list, and individuals are coming up. We expect
don't accuse me, please.
No, okay, I said it appears.
Don't.
Fine. If I is wrong, I stand to be corrected. But I want to beg you to follow the list. If there are people who show their interest to come in, they are satisfied of what has been explained, they can withdraw.
Are we going to have an endless debate today?
Not necessarily.
Thank you. If it's an endless, there must be an end to a debate in any debate.
Yes.
And the general concession here is that, yes, we appreciate the work they have done. Two,
but
excuse me,
yeah.
I listened to you in silence. Two, that there is need for us to go further on what has happened. Can you go further without adopting with the report? You have to adopt the report. Do we now need to exacerbate and then tear ourselves all the time before we take a decision? I don't believe in that. That is the meaning of why we are here. We are here for all of the communities. And I said it from the beginning, that we must be seen to be working for the entirety of our community. We must devoid ourselves and take away from the sentiment of where we are coming from. That will divide us. That is the essence of why ECOWAS is here. And we should not allow that to happen.
No.
Please, I want to beg of us. Are we adopting or not adopting?
Monsieur le Président,
If you don't want it adopted,
Is it by arguing or by vote? Monsieur le Président, s'il vous plaît, Monsieur le Président.
Honorable Speaker, please, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the problem is that the members of Parliament should know, Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament should know what they are adopting. They should understand what they are adopting. The report that I submitted came up with some recommendations. If it is the report that you are submitting for adoption, you can adopt it.
Are the ones who told us here every issue raised by Snow to Nkara is as contained in the report. And if it is there and then we are saying adopting, why do you want us to go especially to explain A, B, C to Z for every moment? Is that the way we do? That's not the way.
Mr. Speaker, we adopt the report integrally.
Yes, Mr. Honorable Speaker, let us adopt the report fully. Let us adopt it. Let us adopt the whole report.
And let us move on. It seems you're only listening to those who are opposing what you are saying.
Can somebody move for the motion?
I move. Honorable Joseph Obinaba move that this report should be adopted.
Hello?
President, we
Is it-
adopt.
Somebody has moved a motion. We wanted a seconder.
No.
Seconder by who?
Motion adopt. We
Adopted?
adopt.
Seconder.
We
by
adopt.
my friend from Niger, sorry. That came again. Then come along. Thank you. Thank you. Adopted? Adopted? Thank you. Allow the speaker to come and handle that one. No need.
Expansion of the committee.
Mr. Speaker,
There's a motion here.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the time frame for the committee.
Time frame.
The time frame for the committee.
For the committee, it should be 1 week. If you want them to do a thorough job, it should be 1 week. What will be, please, that access time frame. Time for the extension.
Expansion of the committee.
You should advise us. 2 weeks. Colleagues, it doesn't matter. Colleagues, by our calendar, you are very much aware our Christian brothers will soon be observing their Christmas period. And by implication, as for next week, the Parliament may go this in. No session. We are expected we should receive this report in Bonju in our next meeting. So the extension should take the committee to finish their work and submit as we meet in Bonju. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. An announcement, honorable colleagues.
This is a preliminary report. Look at this preliminary report.
Yeah, what? It says production of television documentary for the 5th legislature. The Right Honorable Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament has approved the production of television documentary that will showcase the milestone challenges and achievement of the 5th legislature. To this end, they request that members of Parliament, staff, relevant stakeholders collaborate with the Communication Division in the production of the said documentary, in contributing to the success of the production by making themselves available for interviews, questions, and answer sessions, and all other processes in order to bring this endeavor to fruition. Thank you for your commitment as usual. Honorable Acting Secretary General Swami, thank you. I think you should send it into the emails of members.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Merci, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le Président, je crois que nous devons féliciter la commission ad hoc qui a fait ce travail-là. Dans mon entendement, donc, la plénière a pris la décision d'adopter le rapport tel qu'il est. Donc, moi, je me dis que chers collègues, je me dis que soyons un peu calmes. Alors, voyez-vous, dans les débats et les discussions que nous venons de mener là, très franchement, j'ai été agréablement surpris par l'intervention du collègue, l'honorable. Vraiment, pour l'honneur du Parlement, de faire un huis clos. Parce que il y a des choses très graves à ne pas entendre qui se sont passées pendant notre législature. Voyez-vous, quand on avait fait ce rapport-là, l'idéal, le minimum, si on s'était retrouvé au niveau du bureau avant de vous retrouver devant vous, certaines choses n'allaient pas se passer. Mais tout compte fait, pour l'honneur du Parlement, moi je proposerai à Bonjour, là, si Dieu nous prête longue vie, vraiment de régler ce problème-là à huis clos afin de nous comprendre et comme c'est la fin de la législature, vraiment de nous séparer en bons amis. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Muito obrigado, presidente. Também não vou estar diferente ao trabalho realizado para a comissão. Grande trabalho realizado para a comissão. E esse trabalho não está concluído 100%, mas deu indicativo claro que há 2 pontos principais que vão ser seguidos e resolvidos. Há um ponto que vai ser seguido a outra parte de editor. Por isso, eu, em particular, quero agradecer fielmente a comissão que fez esse trabalho. Porque nós, não é mais antiga aqui na SMS, mas quando nós fomos elegidos, segunda reunião, informamos que todo o país recebia $10.000 para a sensibilização de nossa comunidade de cada país. Dissemos isso. Agora, por que não recebemos esse dinheiro? A comissão diz. Por que há outro problema? A comissão diz. Eu penso que o documento já está aprovado, vamos deixar a comissão seguir, continuar seu trabalho e também queremos felicitar o nosso presidente de mesa, primeiro vice, porque é muito difícil gerir um parlamento, gerir pessoas de parlamento, porque vemos diferentes localidades e também o homem tem diferentes. Por isso queremos felicitar e agradecer presidente durante essa sessão, grande trabalho e conseguimos organizar o documento, cada um vai com sua resolução em português, sei também que é em francês e inglês, por isso quero agradecer também ao secretariado esse trabalho realizado. Muito obrigado, presidente.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Colleagues, with this, again? No, distinguished senator Smart.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to add my voice first to commend the committee for a job well done, and to equally say, Mr. President, that the hallmark of democracy is transparency, fairness, justice, and equity. Taking this into consideration, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge that the extension given to the committee should focus more on some of the issues that have not been resolved. Not just because of the Fifth Assembly, but because, let it be on record that efforts were made to correct some misgivings and some maladministration. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, the Parliament is supposed to be the torchlight for the executive. Transparency, management of resources according to the provision of the law must be respected. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, if you are not guilty of corruption and you are said to be guilty of misappropriation, it's as good as corruption. If funds are not spent for the purpose they are meant for, it's corruption, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker. So effort must be made to look at it very well. And I will say, Mr. Speaker, that I think we should not take things for granted to assume that anything can be done here and people can get away with it. You know, anybody can call for the books to be open. And why do we have ECOWAS court? So if funds are not properly managed, a member could have the audacity to go to the ECOWAS court. Mr. Speaker, let me call you add that in the issue of recruitment of staff, I recall that when we were in Togo, in Lomé, this issue came up, and we spoke expressly on it. It's quite disturbing that the same issue is still here. Okay, so it has not been put to rest. Many issues were raised at that time, and some of us are equally very sensitive to happenings here, because our nations all contribute towards keeping this assembly afloat. I want to see the resources of Nigeria properly used and managed for the purpose it's meant for. I will not want to see misappropriation of public funds and funds coming from Nigeria, because we contribute a lot here, and there are many people who are still poor and hungry in Nigeria. So resources should not be mismanaged, and we want to see that we are adequately represented in employment. I will not want to see a situation where it will be said that when somebody was in office, a good number of people were recruited from his own country. That will destroy the concept and the spirit and the ideas behind ECOWAS. So, Mr. Speaker, in my submission, I hope that the committee that has been given the extension of time will go further to look deeply, and some of the reports that were laid, they could call for this report and make sure that we have a holistic report that will put an end to all this misgiving. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
I thought normally is that after this one, we have a sitting tomorrow. And the sitting tomorrow was supposed to be dedicated to ECOFEBA. But because there's no ECOFEBA program tomorrow, we thought the AOBs could be trashed tomorrow. So we adjourn sitting today with their kind permission. They convene tomorrow to trash those AOBs. Sekolombe, you have spoken more than 10 times the collective members of this parliament. Just be patient. Be patient. You are in that committee. You have the district. Please, please. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Speaker, honestly, the ghost will keep on treading our path if we ignore the hard fight. A colleague from Nigeria, Big Brother, made reference of an action we didn't take. It's not just 1 or 2 years ago. Even back to Togo, Guinea-Bissau, Winnipeg, Ghana, those issues were discussed, analyzed, and we agreed to nip it. And maybe one or two of those sections you may not have been there, but Parliament and governance are continuity. Even if United States we got parliamentary clerks, this we got the Secretary General, others who are institutional members. And in my honest opinion, they are taking note of all of them. Mr. Speaker, so now we come and make things to look anew. They will make no progress. We made no progress. It's hard time, Mr. Speaker, that they will call a spade, put square peg in square hole, round pegs in round hole. But at the time we come, we put the footing. And don't want to be hard, don't want to be fight on each other. The hard fight is that, Mr. Speaker, some of the issues here have been a good that trade our path. We always say we'll solve it. We'll solve it. When you found beautiful Ajaratu come here and almost like bang me on the table, it's because she's impatient.
Beautiful who?
Ajaratu. I mean, you can see. I mean, if you see her come here and keep banging on the table, it shows that she's impatient. Because the table will solve the problem in Guinea-Bissau, will solve the problem in Winnipeg, Ghana, will solve it in Togo, but we're not solving it. We're not solving it, Mr. Speaker. So it's a ghost that will trade our path. unless we nip it, it will keep on training our path. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have DP today. My sister from behind. Yes. Oh no, Veronica, allow.
Oh.
Yes. No, this person seated next to you. I'll get back to you. At least allow others who have not contributed.
Merci.
It's Parliament.
Merci beaucoup.
Yes.
Why are we going round and round? I don't get it.
Merci beaucoup, Président.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Il y a quelqu'un qui m'a mangé sur la langue. Il y a des choses qui se discutent en famille. Vous ne me donnez pas le temps au moins. Laissez-moi parler. Donc, pour la journée de demain, nous avons une délégation des femmes qui viennent du Niger, qui viennent aussi, je crois, du Togo, du Mali, qui veulent rencontrer ECOFEPA demain. C'est une information. Il y a des femmes qui viennent du Niger, du Mali, du Togo et d'autres pays qui veulent rencontrer les femmes de ECOFEPA demain à 10h.
Mr. Speaker, on this subject.
Honorable Veronica, then the person is to then get back to you, sir. Yes. I don't know. It's like
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Frankly speaking, the respect that I have been giving you as the Deputy Speaker, I'm going to double it as from today. Because you have presided fairly, with no favor and whatever. And believe me, if you were the one that has been presiding on this particular issue, recruitment, like we have laid that one to rest. Because you are just fair. And I sign you as from today. You see, we have to call things by their correct names. Everything that we are doing here, to me, I believe in oneness. We are one people. For God's sake, if you hurt this person, the other person will be affected. What I'm saying, talking about witch hunt, talking about this, let that not be in our DNA in this community. Some people are admiring us in the other community, the other international community in Parliament, like the EU.
Traduction.
They are admiring us, the way we are calculated, we are organized in ECOWAS. So why can't we just keep on with that good work? I admire one thing that you kept on saying. Let small things don't tear us apart. Very little thing can tear us apart. We'll be thinking that this is small, but it will become big, big, and big unnecessarily. So I just want to applaud the committee. We don't like what you have ended. Let us go into the in-depth. Let us. I applaud you, the committee members, for doing that. We should do justice. Whether A or B, if it is corruption, is corruption. So please, let us work together. Let us listen to our elder brother, our father who has done this. And I want to say thank you for taking up this decision. Thank you very much. And to all the ECOFEPA members, please, let us listen to our daddy. I know he will be there to talk for us. Continue to talk. Continue to go ahead of us. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe from behind, then I come to the the last person behind.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I move for adjournment. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The agenda for today is exhausted, so sitting stand adjourned to tomorrow.
These are the snapshots. Snap. Thank you.
to snap me. Thank you.